In the previous video, we set up our points to be working in the player state, but we have an issue where it does not correctly work on the client. So, to show what I mean, here's the server. As you can see, the points will go up. Here's the client. Nothing happens to the points, but if you look at the bottom left, you can see they are incrementing. Now, for whatever reason, the reason behind this was due to the player state being invalid. So the way we can go about resolving this is to do a simple delay. So from bind event to new character to new interact message under the HUD, we drag up, we type delay, and we'll just do 0.2, compile save, and give it a try. So here's the client. I shoot. As you can see, the points do go up, but there's also quite a bit of like lag between when we shoot and when the points actually go up. So that's something we're going to want to fix. So the way we can go about doing this is actually, I'm kind of curious. Let me test outside of the editor real quick. And I just realized I no longer have that set up. So anyways, ignore that. What we're going to do is we're going to visually anyways, we're going to increment the points on the client as well as we're going to do it on the server. So we're going to try to change up how our points get pretty much incremented and decremented. So the first thing is going to be, we're going to focus on the incrementing of the points. So if we go to our 1911 class, we're going to change how we actually shoot, so to speak. And what I mean by that is if for the server, what we're doing is we are performing a line trace that essentially is just hitting the, what's it called? That's just doing the normal line trace that we were doing. So it detects how many zombies we hit or whatever we hit and all that kind of stuff. And just, calls the hit function, which adds points to the character that was shooting. Well, we want to do this on the client as well. So what I mean by that is we're going to copy this whole section and paste it right here above our server fire. And then in our zombie hit, we're going to go through being blind. Here's our zombie base. In our hit function, we're simply going to remove the has authority check. And instead, what we're going to do, well, actually, our weapon kind of handles it because it's calling server fire as well. So we're going to increment it on the client. So we're calling increment points in our player state, which also has the authority check. So we're going to remove that. And instead, what we're going to do is if has authority, we're going to call the onRep. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, let's see. We want to do new points dot broadcast. We want to broadcast the points as well. So I'm going to compile and I will walk you through kind of the effect that this hopefully should have. Yeah, I'm recording. Okay. Now let's just kind of see what all happens. As you can see, now it's instant because we're adding the points on the client and they're being synced by the server. So now whenever I purchase, also I noticed a weird collision bug with that. So the server does it from just about anywhere, but the client, it's hit or miss. So we're gonna have to fix that a little bit later. I'll add that to a to-do list. Uh, Also, the price of the door is actually supposed to be 600. Well, let's set it at 500. But yeah, so the points, let me go ahead and I'll go through and step by step what we did. And then we'll do the same thing for the decrementing of the points. Well, actually, I might leave the same for the decrement points. So that way there is that we're not decrementing on the client just in case something screws up. So what we're doing is, for example, for shooting, let's say we're on the client. The client shoots, plays the fire animation. We check it for the server. We're not, so it's going to run what's inside of the else. So here, we're going to perform the line trace ourselves, loop through, and we're going to call, for any zombie that's hit, we're going to call the hit function. So inside the hit function, check if the player is valid, get our player state, and we call increment points. Again, we're still on the client. And inside the increment points, we simply add the points and broadcast them to ourselves. So the way behind this is when in our weapon, we're also calling the server event that performs the same line trace and calls the hits for the zombies as well. So what we're doing is we're adding the points on the client first. We're checking if we have authority, which we do not, so it's going to be false. And we're just simply going to broadcast the points to ourselves so we can see that change immediately to our new points. And then, because the server version gets called right here, the server is going to perform the line traces and it's going to call the hit on the zombie. It's going to get the player state. It's going to increment the points on the server. And remember, points is replicated. So it's going to add to the value. Well, it's going to add the points. And since points is now being changed on the server, the client is going to see, well, it's going to confirm, kind of like sync up the points to whatever the server's version is. So that's why so what I mean by that is, let's say we get an invalid hit, but it still adds our points on the client. So let's say our points go from 1,000 to 1,100 on the client, but we missed and it didn't actually hit on the server. Well, what it's going to do is whenever we hit the points the next time, so let's say we shoot another zombie and it is a valid hit, our points are going to still be at 1,100, but the points on the server, and the reason for that is because our points on the client are going to want to go to 1,200, but the points on the server is the authority. Like it's the true value of points. So that's only going to be at 1,100. If that makes, hopefully that makes sense. But anyways, that's what we're doing here. So the result of that is no matter what, even if there's a lot of server lag, we're still going to have those immediate hits. Like the second the line trace hits the zombie or whatever reduces our points. And that's the whole reason behind this kind of client to server setup while the server is still being authoritative. So hopefully that was a good explanation. I have no idea if it made any sense at all, but hopefully they learned something. Anyways, I will see you in the next one where I think we're probably going to, I don't know, I want to see what's going on with the door. But anyways, I will see you in the next one.